Hi, I'm coming to you today to do another book review, and today I'm talking about The Way Out by Alan Gordon and Alon Ziv. The description of the book is as follows. The Way Out, the revolutionary, scientifically proven approach to heal chronic pain. From back pain to migraines, arthritis and sciatica, over 1.2 billion people worldwide suffer from regular or chronic pain, 28 billion in the UK alone. It's a global epidemic that regularly resists treatment and can totally derail people's lives, but it doesn't have to be this way. So I'll take you through a bit of a description of what's in the book and explain along the way and wrap up at the end how the book has helped. So one of the key things that I really enjoyed about this book was Alan's humour. It really did bring a lot to the book. The book's wonderful. There is so much in there, so many strategies for healing, but I really enjoyed Alan's humour and the stories and the metaphors he used to explain pain, symptoms, healing, etc. And I've even used some of these metaphors with my hypnosis clients, and they've been really effective because they're wonderful stories, they're wonderful metaphors, and they can be used for healing just by reading about them, but also in a therapeutic setting. I actually listened to the Audible version of the book as well as having and reading the Kindle version, and I really enjoyed listening to it on Audible because it's narrated by Alan, and it's just a great, light-hearted, funny, easy read and just enjoyable. I really enjoyed in this book hearing Alan's own stories about his pain and also how his pain was healed, but that at times he has relapsed and how he's managed that. I'll talk a little bit more about the relapse stuff as we go through, but I just feel like hearing the author's stories in the book certainly helped me to connect with it more. The book goes on to explain that pain is a danger signal, which I think most of us know that if we fall over, we hurt ourselves, we have an injury, the pain is there to help us stop. It's a signal to say, hey, stop, your body's not right, stop and rest. And that's really important. However, the book explains that sometimes the brain makes mistakes, and this is what leads to chronic pain. And I think this quote explains it really well. Our brains aren't perfect, and sometimes they misinterpret signals from the body. Neuroplastic pain is a result of this type of misunderstanding. It's caused by your brain misinterpreting normal signals from your body as if they were dangerous. The body is fine, but the brain creates pain anyway. In other words, neuroplastic pain is a false alarm. So, as that quote explains, that if the brain makes a mistake once, that's okay, but when a number of mistakes happen and it leads to chronic pain, not so much, and then there's some work to do to unlearn that pain. So the book explains that neuroplastic pain is actually more common than structural pain. And of course, while some people have structural pain and that is their issue and that is the cause of their pain, that it really is quite common for people with chronic pain conditions to be experiencing neuroplastic pain. The book then goes on to talk about likely triggers for chronic pain and some things that may lead us to be more predisposed to pain. They explain this can be anything from daily fear and daily triggers, daily stresses, to a big event that might happen in someone's life, an accident, a job loss, a divorce, through to events that may have happened in childhood that would cause us to be more prone to the fear response. They also explain some common habits that may trigger pain and keep it in place. These include worrying, I think worrying in general, but also worrying about the pain, putting pressure on ourselves to be better, get better, etc., and self-criticism. And you may see yourself in those habits, that a personality type that tends towards that. I can certainly see, would certainly say that I could see myself in that and see how those triggers would have led to my irritable bowel syndrome and how I need to be aware of my tendency towards some of those things and how I can minimize them or recognize when I'm in that state of self-criticism or worrying unnecessarily about things and making a change. The book emphasizes the importance of changing perspectives on our pain and our symptoms. And there's a couple of quotes again that I think really demonstrate how important this is. The first one being that all chronic pain patients have the same fear. There has to be something wrong with my body that's causing this. However, a better belief, and a belief that this book helps us get to, is that the pain is due to your brain making a mistake and that your body is fine. Then fear goes away and soon after, the pain fades. And working through this book, I think, is really important to helping us get to that place of changing our mindset and changing our beliefs. The book goes through a range of strategies for people to use depending on the level of pain. Somatic tracking is a really important part, right through to behaviours that you might do when you've got really bad pain to help you feel safe and calm and comfortable. So a range of strategies to reprocess pain within the book itself, which I think is wonderful. There is also a chapter on technology, which I think is really important and really key, and something that perhaps isn't really being talked about enough in this realm, in a lot of realms, but just a reminder that technology can lead to fear, hypervigilance, that constant distraction, but also potentially constant comparison between what we're doing in our lives and what other people are doing. So I think it's just a really good reminder and just helps us potentially look at our own technology use and to see if it is healthy and it's something that brings us feelings of safety or if it's not. One of the chapters I really love about this book, and perhaps it wasn't as important to me on the first read, but it has been subsequently, was the chapter on relapse, and pointing out that relapse is always a possibility for people experiencing mind-body syndrome and neuroplastic pain. And as it turns out, I've come back to this a number of times over the last 18 months since I first read the book, and come back and work through that relapse, because it might just be a day where my tummy's a bit sore, or I've got a bit of a headache, and I can see that I'm starting to worry about it and starting to really think about it. Going back and reading that chapter or listening to that chapter has really helped turn down that fear response really quickly, and generally the symptoms have gone away, and if they haven't, I'm okay about it, and I let time go by and I trust the process, as the book says again and again, trust the process, and this section on relapse has really helped me trust the process. For me, it's an enjoyable read, it's a educational read, it's an important read. So whilst it is a fun and lighthearted read, it has a really important message. So I would say if you think you may have mind-body syndrome or neuroplastic pain and you're not sure, that the book is great. If you think you have got mind-body syndrome or neuroplastic pain and you're someone who tends towards anxiety in general, and particularly fear around the symptoms and the sensations, then I highly recommend the book. So not surprisingly, I give the book a big 5 out of 5, and yeah, I really recommend a read for anyone who's found this review interesting, anyone who's interested in mind-body syndrome and neuroplastic pain and hasn't yet read it. So thanks for listening today, and I look forward to seeing you back here soon. Bye.